What up, you guys? So to keep the integrity of the video and the integrity of the message, because people can always do edits to make themselves sound much better than what they really are. I'm gonna try to keep this video as unedited as possible. I did get up in the middle of the video to go get this book that I'm gonna go get a book, and so I'm going to edit that part out. But other than that, the rest of this video is going to be raw. The reason why I want to keep it raw is because I want you to truly see how I talk. I don't want to edit this for the production value. I think that when it comes to wheat waffles and the stuff that he's talking about, it's really important to look at the integrity of a person. I never use a script for any of my videos. This is all off the top of my head, you guys. And so with that being said, man, let's get into the intro of this video and let's get to it, you guys. Thank you. YouTube. So I had a subscriber of mine. He asked me to do some more wheat waffle reaction videos, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. The one I'm gonna react to is the economic explanation of why modern dating is failing. And let's go ahead and get into it. But before we do that, man, I want to tell you guys I'm definitely doing some more streaming, so please check me out. Feel free to comment, engage with me. I'll answer any questions that you guys have. And yeah, that's really about it. I'm working a lot, exercising and stuff like that. I hope you guys are doing well, man. Thank you so much for the love and appreciation. With that being said, man, let's actually get into the video.
The dating system is a mess. If you're a man, you probably get little to no dating opportunities. You get flaked on when trying to arrange meetups. And you probably find texting an absolute nightmare for keeping a woman interested. Meanwhile, if you're a woman, chances are you don't have these issues, but instead face a barrage of lackluster quality guys. Quantity isn't a problem, but quality is. And for the small percentage you do consider date-worthy, you find they are preoccupied with other aspects of life, or they aren't serious and just want to date casually. Based on these points, it should be clear that the current dating system isn't benefiting most people, both for men and women. Well, in this video, as I'm going to explain, it may surprise you that all of these problems are in fact predictable and ingrained in the modern dating system. The dating...
Alright, off the rip, you guys, I'm not gonna lie, man, he hit it. Everything right on the nail. Everything right on the nail, you guys. I thought that was very well put for problems for men and women, you guys. Like, I think that is actually a very good point. There is definitely a quantity, a tremendous amount of guys that are coming up to you as a woman, and there's not a lot of quality, right? Or they're just preoccupied with other things in life. And the same thing when it comes to guys. It seems very frustrating. It's just, texting is ridiculous. You're not getting many dating options, you guys. I mean, that's why this manosphere, red pill, black pill thing is such a big thing. So I think he really hit it on the nail. So I don't really have any critiques about that, man. I think he did a great job explaining that.
The dating market, just like any market, is guided by market forces. These forces should, in theory, lead to a system that is fair and balanced. However, I've identified 3 points of failure fixed into the system that are causing problems to take place. Let me introduce you to the economic principle of market failure, which, for a really quick explanation, if you've not heard of this before, it is exactly what it says in its name. This is when the market, in this case the dating market, leads to suboptimal outcomes that do not benefit some or all of the people it is supposed to serve. There are 7 types, and usually just one of these can lead to the system being broken. Well, as stated, 3 apply to the dating market, which in other words means there are 3 unavoidable points of failure that are causing all sorts of problems in dating. Anyway, let's break down these 3 points one by one, starting with inequality. It's no surprise the dating market is unequal. Using the Lorenz curve, which is the most common way to measure inequality in any given system, we'll be able to see just how big the gap is between the men at the top, middle and bottom. It works like this. Population is on the x-axis and the share of a particular thing is on the y-axis. And in a perfectly equal system, we'd have a completely straight Lorenz curve. This means 50% of the population get 50% of the cumulative share, 70% get 70%, 90 get 90, and so on. So no matter where you are in the system, you will be on equal terms compared with your neighbour. This chart is most often used in an economic sense to measure levels of income inequality in countries. For example, the Lorenz curve for America looks like this, where the top 20% takes home a little over 50% of the country's income. This is expected, as we all know the people at the top in a country like America are faring way better than those at the bottom. Now let's take a look at how things are in the dating market. To make this work, instead of measuring wealth, we'll substitute in Tinder likes. Now, I know a lot of people might roll their eyes about using Tinder to provide data, but at the same time this will be able to give us a rough idea. And besides, Tinder is the world's largest dating app with over 75 million users, so sample size is not an issue. Additionally, studies show dating apps are now the #1 way couples meet. So as I say, using Tinder likes definitely not a perfect measure, but this will be able to give us a rough idea of dating market inequality. Anyway, the Lorenz curve for men on Tinder looks like this. Shockingly, it's actually more unequal than America is in terms of income, noticeably more. On Tinder, the top 10% of men get 58% of the likes. Meanwhile, for the bottom 50% of men, they get just 4.3%. And the reason I find this so glaring is because we hear on the news all the time about income inequality, how terrible it is and what should be done about it. But when the exact same thing is happening in the dating market, it seems no one even cares about it. Now, some of you might point out that I've only spoken about the inequality for men, when really this should also apply for women as well, because men are no different in their dating choices.
So there's this book by the co-founder of OkCupid. Now, Tinder, absolutely so much bigger than what OkCupid is. However, you guys, I want you to look at something. I want you to think of something, right? So the co-founder of OkCupid created this book called Dataclysm. Now, what's in this book is pretty much what this guy is showing us right now, what Waffles is showing us. And I want to show you something in particular. It's a really good book, you guys. You can look at the statistics of dating and whatnot. But this right here, look at this. That right there is what makes this book so controversial. So controversial because this is from OkCupid. Tinder has 75 million active users. OkCupid probably doesn't have anywhere close to that. So who knows what the true numbers are really looking like when it comes to race. The reason why I brought that into play right here, you guys, is because it's not only just race, but it has so many other data statistics in here, just like what Waffles is showing us, you guys. That 10% of guys that get the 58% of the likes, once again, if you feel like you're below that 50%, I mean, at the end of the day, all you can do is just continue to focus and get yourself better. Because if you're just sitting there complaining about it, if you're saying, yeah, everyone needs to accept the black pill, okay, then what? Let's say that we accept the black pill. Let's say that what your ideas are right. Let's say it's right. Now what? Now what are you gonna do? Now what are your options? You're 18, you're 25, you're 35, and you accepted the red pill, accepted the black pill. Now what? What are you gonna do with your life now? Are you just gonna let it go by? You're just gonna, you know what I mean? So even if this is true, let's say it is true, completely true. What now? You have to answer the call. You've got to make yourself better. That's what I get from this.
Those that think this, you're right. It does apply to women. The top 10% of women get 45% of likes from men, which again shows a big inequality. But the reason I'm focusing mainly on men is because notice how the share of likes is less equal for men than for women. The bottom 50% of women has nearly twice the share than the bottom 50% of men. This suggests that women have their eyes focused on the top guys more than men have theirs focused on the top women. On top of this, when you factor in the ratio of these apps and that men swipe way more than women in general, you'll find even below average women can accumulate a sizable number of matches in a short period of time. So the bottom line is, on dating apps there is only one group of people who will indefinitely have a matches screen that looks like this. And that group is below average men. Now moving on to the second point of market failure. This is known as asymmetric information. Let's say you're looking to buy a second-hand car. You go online and find almost immediately what appears to be a very alluring deal. The car is only a few years old, has low miles and is well under the market price. So you do the obvious thing and arrange to meet the seller and buy it, thinking you've got an amazing deal. Anyway, for the next 6 months, everything is smooth. That is, until, suddenly, loads of problems start arising with the car. The gearbox had to be replaced, as did the clutch. You got them both repaired straight away, and at this point, since you've been frustrated twice, you made the wise decision to get an inspection from a car mechanic in order to prevent any more unforeseen damages. And unfortunately, the mechanic leaves you shocking news. He says the mileage of the car is actually 3 times higher than what it reads on the odometer. You also find out it's 5 years older than what it says on the reg. You now become very angry and get rid of the car, swearing you'll never drive again. Anyway, the purpose of this story is to highlight the problem of asymmetric information in a marketplace. The car seller knew information about the car that undermines your ability to make rational decisions as a buyer. How does this principle also apply to the dating market? Well, just like there's information someone can hide about a car, there is also information people can hide about themselves that makes them look like a better option than they truly are. A woman may have been a notorious cheater in her past. She may have cheated on every single one of her previous partners. Similarly, she may have an extremely high partner count. But the thing is, unless you actually know this information, her past has zero effect on your perceptions of her dateability. For all you know, you're dating a perfectly sweet and normal girl. Then it's only a matter of months, or God forbid, years further down the line, problems arise and you start to realise you've been duped. And obviously, if you knew about her past before getting into the relationship, you'd have never invested your time, resources and money in the first place. No different from the example of a man buying a terrible car. And I know I'm going to get some angry people in the comments telling me, how dare you compare dating a woman to buying a car like they're both objects. Well, on the surface, the car analogy might sound condescending, but whether you like it or not, the dating market is a market just like any other. It is...
Wow, that was very, very, very well articulated. Not only was it very well articulated, but the display with the graphics and the example that he gave was very good. Very, very good. This is something that people talk about. This is what the dating coaches, this is what people, you know, in general, you should absolutely do your research when you're trying to make a big purchase on anything. And so when it comes to dating, when it comes to choosing a partner, you absolutely should be thinking about what the benefit and what the cost is going to be. When it comes to that car, you got to think about it like this. There are people out here trying to give good deals, but more often than not, if they're giving you a great deal on a car, on anything, there might be something wrong with it. What's that saying? Maybe too good to be true. More often than not, it typically is. She's a 28, 30-year-old woman looking very fine, very bad, single, looking at you, and you haven't had that type of attention from a woman of her caliber. What is the catch, right? It's not to say that you're not worthy of that. It's not. It's just to say that you've got to do your research. Or is it the seller's fault for trying to find a sucker to buy this car, knowing that he has so many problems, knowing that he's willingly, intentionally deceitful with it? Or is it the person's fault, the buyer's fault, for not doing their due diligence in buying the car? Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Either side we could put blame on either side, right? But if you are the purchaser, which is the man, if you are someone that is, you know, looking to cuff a girl up, even have sex with a girl, you should do your research. You should absolutely do your research. What kind of girl is this? What kind of girl is this? Everyone wants to, all the guys want to smash on the bad chick. All of these bad girls with the BBLs posting with their booties out on the kitchen bathroom, OnlyFans models and shit like that. Do you really want to be with these girls? This is what I think. I'm going to go ahead and say this real quick, you guys. What are you thinking of the long term? Were you handed down houses from your family? When you turned 18, did your family hand you down a business? What about a car? You know what I mean? Do you think that your family could have passed down things to you that would have put you in a better position in life today? Now, what about you, right? How are you planning on moving with your future kids, your future generation? You're wasting so much time dating left, right, here, there. you can't build anything. It's so hard to build anything worthwhile that you can even give to your children, to give them a better life, when you're spending all of this time, spending all of this money, and this goes for men and women. When you're spending all of this time going back and forth between partners, you're wasting precious time. And guess what? You're completely doing the cycle all over again. What was the purpose of your 60, 70, 80 plus years in this life if you can't give anything to your next generation? People aren't thinking like in the Game of Thrones. They're not thinking like Lannisters. They're not thinking about like Starks. They're not thinking like Rockefellers. That's the way I think about it. Bad bitches, cool. You can fuck them. Fuck them. Get that out your system and then start focusing on something better. These girls out here, if they're like this, man, if they're street runner mentality, let them be. There's so much better out there. And the guys that are out here preaching, you know, smash and dash and all this, like fucker and then kick it to the curb and stuff like that, you guys, you can follow that. But what do you truly want in your life? What's the end goal going to be? That's my question to you. I want you to comment down below what your end goal is. Do you care about building something of legacy? Do you care about building a business? Do you care about shit? Our parents don't even pass down knowledge. They don't even pass down words of wisdom. God damn. They can't even pass down words of wisdom to us. You know why? Because people have been so they probably haven't even learned anything of value. You know why? Because they're so focused on dating here, left, right, third, and their happiness and shit like that. It's not to say happiness isn't important, but you get the gist, you guys. We Waffles is doing a pretty damn good job at this video.
It's guided by the principles of supply and demand, and every single man and woman is seen as a buyer and seller. And one of the key problems in today's dating market is there's an incentive to sell yourself at a higher value than you actually are. There's become a very fine line between putting your best foot forward and flat out pretending to be someone you're not. This is a market failure at its core, as it encourages people to deceive the person they're dating if they want to increase their chances of it working out. Honest people are the losers and liars are the winners. And this problem has been made even worse since online dating due to its high levels of anonymity. Nowadays, a person you met from a dating app can make up whatever lies about themselves they want, and as long as you believe them, it will hugely increase their perceived value. Now, of course, vetting for red flags is important and may be the only solution. However, it is not guaranteed. If a woman tweaks her history slightly, how would you be able to tell? Also, remember everything I'm saying right now applies to men too, not just women. Here's an example I recently saw in this video.
How to tell a girl you just want to hook up. The first thing you don't want to do is while you're on the date tell her, hey, just so you're aware, I'm not looking for a relationship. That's a huge red flag from the girl's perspective. So instead, when she asks you, so what are you looking for? You want to say, lately I've just been casually dating, trying to take things slow. I have no expectations and let's see where things go. That's what you say the next time she asks you that question.
Once again, from this clip we have the same problem. If you take a second to wrap your head around this chart, you can see it is in the interest of the guy to beat around the bush about his intentions, as he will have a better chance of hooking up with the girl who's only interested in a relationship. You can see the relationship-seeking woman would have rejected the man if he was upfront. But by him being ambiguous like this dating coach is advising, then he is able to entice her. I believe this is incredibly immoral and a massive problem, and actually affects everyone, including you. The more this happens, the more women seeking relationships will become jaded and bitter of men, which in turn makes it harder for the next guy who wants to shoot his shot and is serious about finding a relationship. Make no mistake guys, the use of this advice is immoral. I believe this for three main reasons. It is misleading, selfish, and always at the expense of other people's happiness. Expanding on this last one first, it leaves the woman upset because she thought she'd be getting a relationship but instead got ghosted, and it leaves other men upset as they now have less of a chance and the woman has less of an ability to pair bond if a relationship does form. So basically, it only benefits the man who uses the advice, which makes it selfish. However, I don't even see how he could get fulfillment from doing it, because the only reason he got what he wanted was by being misleading. There should be no internal validation to gain from this experience because she was only willing to hook up with him because she was anticipating something long term. The man...
Okay. Very, very solid points that Waffles is absolutely bringing up. However, there are some issues with this. I want you guys all to read the 48 Laws of Power. If you're someone that reads 48 Laws of Power, one of the first things that Robert Greene says is that he tried his best to put his own bias into this book, and that the book is simply an outline of power, of what actions and inactions, because not acting can also be a potential power creator. It exists. Power exists. It's whether the way that it's being used, it depends on the person who's using it. So in this instance, what this guy is saying, I'm not looking, like, instead of just saying, yeah, I'm just looking to hook up, right? That's being upfront. That's also being it's just dirty. It just sounds disgusting. Like, come on. You don't say it like that. It's just, there's no finesse in it. People want to play the game. People want to play the game. How would you feel if a girl just came up to you and just said, yeah, let me suck your dick? First off, I'll be thinking, what the fuck? Whoa! Even if she's cute, I'll be like, hold on. How many other guys have you came up to and talked to like that, right? Do you have AIDS? Do you have some, what's going on with this? Do you have somebody that's going to rob me? You know what I'm saying? You don't always have to think like that, but there's a certain way that you come about it. You don't just say, yeah, I'm just looking to hook up. Yeah, I just want to fuck you. That's so not cool. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to hear that. It's so much better to come and approach with, yeah, I'm just casually dating. When you saying casually dating, that means that you're not really being serious with it. So he was not disingenuous for it. Now, at the expense of others' happiness, once again, he's not being disingenuous with it. He is being a bit ambiguous because you're leaving the door open for possibilities. You're leaving the door open for potential possibilities. Now, because you don't know who you are dealing with when you're in front of them. When you meet them at the store, meet them at the mall, meet them on Tinder or whatever, you don't know who you're talking to. How many times have you done talk to somebody and you just end up in a relationship because you just end up like really, really clicking? You know what I mean? You didn't expect to get into a relationship and bam, there you guys are. You're in a relationship. Why? Because you guys clicked. There's so many things that you just are not able to find out about a person as soon as you meet them. Just because she's bad, just because she's fine, you may not want to her. She may have a terrible lab. She may have bad hygiene. You're just going off of either looks or the first 5 minutes of conversation when you're meeting someone. When you're just going up front and just saying, yeah, I just want to fuck. Yeah, I just want to hook up. There's an issue, like, come on. So this is one of the first times I've actually disagreed with Waffles in this. He's making very solid points as to how this is immoral, but think about it from a woman's perspective as well. You are a guy, and let's say a girl's coming up to you, right? Why do you think she's not gonna just up front say everything like exactly how she's saying it? Like, you know what I mean? There's a game that's being played. Now, whether or not the game should be played or not, that's an entirely different subject. But the fact of the matter is that the game is here. Now, you're either going to play with it, you're going to play to win, or you're just going to complain about the fucking game. What do they say? Don't hate the player, hate the game? You can't hate men that actually do this at all. Now, it's always about the wielder. How that person uses this power. How the person uses their ambiguity. Now that is what we should judge. It's the content of a person's character. Not necessarily the game. Of course, we can always focus on the game, talk about how the game is bad and shit like that. We should always try to be as moral as possible, you guys, so we can make the world a better place. But come on, when it comes to this, you guys, there's a way to say certain things. And just because a person is good at talking does not mean that they're always immoral. You know what I mean? That's what I gotta say on that.
Man must know deep down, if he was upfront and honest, the girl wouldn't have gone through with it. How he can live with a sense of pride given this, I have no idea. Anyway, that's it for this point on asymmetric information, and as you've seen, it can be exploited by and damaging to both men and women. Now moving on to the final market failure, which is this concept known as tragedy of the commons. Again, we'll look at an economic market first to understand the concept, and then relate it to the dating market. Imagine you live in a medium-sized town, and this town gets all of its water supply just a few miles away from this single lake. The lake has no rivers that flow into it, so it has to rely on rainfall to maintain its size. Everyone understands if the lake is exploited, it may dry up one day, so protecting it is extremely important. However, there is one big problem. The people may understand the lake's importance as a collective, but as individuals, unless you introduce laws or limits on how much water each person can use, it means there is nothing that can stop anyone from taking more from the lake than they should. Anyway, because of this problem, what ends up happening is 10% of the people turn a completely blind eye to the lake's preservation. They decide to grow extensive lawns, wash their vehicles daily, and install fountains, which are all very water intensive. And in the short term, this 10% are very happy. But unfortunately, this was never sustainable, and slowly but surely the lake dried up, ruining it for everybody. This is called the tragedy of the commons, and the exact same issue happens in overfishing, over deforestation, and over mining, all for the same reasons. And as you probably guess, this also happens in the dating market. Think of the lake example again, but swap out the lake for the dating pool of women, and the town for the pool of men. Now think of the 10% who use up the water as the top 10% of men in the dating market. Remember, at the very start of the video, I explained how the dating market is extremely unequal, particularly for men. So, when the top 10% have abundance and can date multiple women at the same time, it means other guys are left out. It might be a tough pill to swallow for a lot of you, but the dating market is a zero-sum game. Meaning, if I date a woman and take her off the market, that's one less woman you could now potentially date. And this isn't necessarily a problem if there are equal numbers of men and women, because eventually everyone will have a partner. But the problem arises when a small minority of guys date multiple women at the same time, leaving the other men left out. It's a matter of fact, over 2,000 years ago, the rulers realised how this setup was unsustainable, so to counteract this, they introduced laws of monogamy, which created a one-to-one balance for men and women, making sure people weren't left out. But funnily enough, in the last couple of decades, we've seen a complete dismantling of these values, and once again we're in a situation where a few men at the top are dominating the market, while the people at the bottom are being ostracised. Anyway, that's it for the 3 ways market failure applies to the dating market, and maybe I'll make a solutions video to these problems in future. If you enjoyed, make sure you press the like button now and leave any thoughts you have in the comments below, as it helps the YouTube algorithm.
What an excellent video. I think it was a great video. And I think that at the end, that was also a really good point too. I want to add something else too. There are a percentage of women that actually want monogamy. There are a percentage of women that actually want marriage. There are a percentage of women that will actually uphold the integrity of a marriage. Very, very small. Very, very small. And those women are left out as well. They're overlooked for the chicks wearing bikinis, for the chicks throwing that ass out, for the chicks wearing cosplay with their cheeks and skin, you know what I mean? For the girls that actually put out and stuff like that, you know? So it is a bit of a, it's very much unequal for both sides. Now, with all of this being said, there is a solution to this. While this may be true, right? I'll say this one more time. While this may be true, if you accept it to be true, guess what else is true? You can improve yourself. You can improve yourself and your situation. Now, you may not be able to completely alter, you know, fucking physical features. You may not be able to grow a beard like I can, right? But guess what you can do? You can control the face of, you control the shape of your face. What was that? Trey, what the fuck are you talking about? You can't control the shape of your face? Oh, so you mean to tell me the people that lose weight, their faces don't completely change? Huh. I'm not talking about plastic surgery. I'm talking about physical exercise. That's one thing everyone can do. Every single person in the world can do, and that will guarantee to move you up at least 2 points from where you currently are. If you're not, you don't even have to be fat, right? You could just be mid, right? Skinny. Start to exercise. I used to be fat. Look at one of my videos. I'll actually tag it. I'll put it down below, you guys. It was your greatest challenge video. I used to be very, very fat. I changed myself. And now, you know, imagine I was 50 pounds more than what I am today right now. You know what my face would do? It will bulge up, right? I'll be like, use the filters on Snapchat. You'll be able to see what you would look like if you're fat. You know? I would not look like this, you guys. That's one thing you can do. While this may be true, it's a competitive world. It's a competitive world on purpose. We are the greatest species on the fucking planet because women are hypergamous. Because they want the creme de la creme. And because we want the creme de la creme as well, it forces women to also have to you know, everyone's got to play this game. This life is not fair. Life is not fucking fair. But guess what? We all have a chance at trying to win this shit. And that's where, as men, we gotta stop downing each other and we actually work with each other. Go with other men that understand the game. Follow the men that understand the game. Learn from them. And then you take on the mantle. You take the torch as well. You've gotta have so many other men promoting and print, because we all have different experiences. As long as we understand that this is a game that we gotta compete in, you know what I mean? Even when you secure the girl, you still have got to compete. You have always got to do better. You know why? Because there's another guy that's better than you. Always going to be better than you. But as long as you're trying to become the best version of yourself, you follow this crystal shit, this esoteric shit, where it's like, oh, your energy, we're limitless beings. Well, fuck it. Guess what? If we are limitless beings, well, then you're going to keep always growing. Look at Drake. He's big. He's been the top motherfucking artist forever. Still wants to get bigger. You can always be better than where you're at. Always. Even when you've done good, when you've accomplished whatever the top title in whatever field you're in, how about you start a new title? Start from the bottom as something else. You're the best fucking swimmer in all of America. Well, how about take up basketball? Learn how to play basketball now. You're going to start at the bottom, but at least you're growing, you're learning, you're being the best version of yourself. So these guys out here that complain about looks is the whole thing, that's the whole base of, that's all women care about is looks and money and shit like that. Let's say that's true. Now what? Then what? What the fuck are you gonna do? You're just gonna continue to complain, or are you gonna do better? You're gonna do better. You gotta compete, you guys. That's my take on this, you guys, man. What do you guys think about this, man? Like, comment, subscribe down below. I will see you guys in the... actually, I just want to say, this was a great video. Really good video by Waffles, you guys. Really good video, man. I'll give it up to him on that one. I got to give credit where it's due. I'm not always sitting here trying to make, you know, unpopular opinions when it's not necessary, you guys. Like, critiques when it's not necessary. This was very well made. He put a lot of time into it. He brought great examples. So I have nothing but props for him on this video, you guys. And everything was sound. Everything was really sound. And he approached it from the man and the woman perspective. Very good video. So that's my reaction to this, man. Like, comment, subscribe down below, you guys. I'll be live probably tonight or in the morning. Whatever. See you guys later.